So, hello and welcome to another episode of What You Need is a Damn Good Listening To. And today I'm absolutely delighted to be bringing one of the warmest, kindest, most warmth emanating human being I know, Maria Kassova. And I think I've got that right because it's not Kassava, is it?
Yes, you got it very right. And thank you for this beautiful introduction, Chris.
You're very welcome.
My honor to be with you.
Say again?
It's my honor and pleasure to be with you.
Well, right
your
back
guest.
at you. And by the way, I Googled you because I can just before we started. And I have to say, congratulations, you're right up there. There is only one Maria Kassova. So you did really well. You are speaking to us from Bulgaria today, which is very exciting. You're the first person on What You Need is a Damn Good Listening To that I've spoken to that's coming from Bulgaria. So just talk us through why you're back there.
So I came here 4 weeks ago. I'm normally based in London, but I came here 4 weeks ago because now I can be based anywhere really with most of our work or all of our work being virtual. And the first 2 weeks were really challenging because I had to go into complete quarantine. And that was really hard dealing with isolation and having to get friends to buy me things. But now this is over and I have discovered again the joy of meeting friends, the joy of going to the shops, to even going cafes and restaurants because they are open in Bulgaria, and even some cultural events. I went to an opera on Wednesday and I saw Norma from Bellini. I've been to a concert. So yeah, life and the summer is blooming in Bulgaria, as is work, as you know. So I'm really excited.
So Maria's back on the open road because lockdown has been its own very testing experience of all of our resilience, has it not, as we know? And what you really specialise in, apart from your kindness and your empathy, is the idea of really, really helping people with their resilience. So do you want to talk us through, what you most like to do when you're in your sweet spot of doing what Maria Kassova does?
So when I'm in my sweet spot and I was thinking what an ideal day for me would look like, it would definitely have either coaching or facilitation. And what I love is, and that's the way I'm introducing myself now at dinner parties when I'm asked, what do you do? So I say that I am a tour guide and I take individuals and I take people on explorations where they explore their strengths, they explore their achievements, their victories. We sometimes revisit the dark caves where they have made a mistake, and in the conversations that we have, they realize that they've learned a lot. And they realize that they were actually not a mistake. It was just part of the learning journey. And I love that. So my sweet spot is really to help people believe in themselves.
I absolutely love that evocation of, rather than just taking people on what we've all heard, we're all on a journey. That's rather dull compared to what you've just described, which is a really beautiful way to navigate, segue, go into cul-de-sacs, come out again, and tour guide. What a beautiful thing. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm lucky because my passion is my hobby now. So it's, I used to have, as you know, I used to have another career. Over 20 years, I worked in media. And I was working with extraordinary teams in BBC, Discovery, NBC Universal. We were selling the channels, and it was very exciting to learn the corporate life and the challenges. And probably my favorite aspect of that was nurturing my team, which is what led me to where I am now. And I'm really fortunate that my hobby is my full-time job now.
And by the way, what I've so enjoyed in the times that we've known each other we've known each other for about 3 or 4 years, but in the lockdown period, you were the first person to have the most, resonant, warm amplification of a background. We both enjoyed an acronym about how to present well online, which is BLADE, background being first, lighting, angle, distance, energy. But you've always had, even what you're wearing today, you just resonate and glow warmth, which is a quality I definitely experience in you.
Thank you, Chris. And in London, my background is yellow, which makes me to stand out, but also it's a color of optimism and positivity. And I think we really needed that. So I think it did help.
Sure thing. So I'm going to invite you into a little area called The Clearing, which is just some storytelling archetypes of what we're going to talk through, getting you on the open road of who you are, getting you to fly your kite metaphorically, tell your story, and in the end, amplify your brand and also talk about the voice and the personality of Working Voices, which is what we have in common. We both work for that wonderful entity that is Working Voices, apart from the other stuff that we do on the open road of our freelance careers, which is fantastic. So talking about clearing, first of all, Maria, where do you go to get clear, to get clutter free, if you're given the opportunity to just go where you can be most innovative?
So my favorite clearing is nature. And nature can be Wimbledon Park, which is where I used to live, 5 minutes away from me. And just walking around the park, there's a little lake, and I just loved sitting there and watching the goose swim. And if there is sunshine as well, just get really immersed in nature. Sometimes even hug trees. And really, there's something majestic about nature which fills my soul. Coming back to Bulgaria, I've been fortunate to go to a few mountain resorts. And Chris, in one day, I feel so alive. But it's also given me such a list of creative life. I've had so many ideas. I have been so productive designing programs, delivering PowerPoints and course notes, facilitating. So really, nature is my temple. And that's really the one place. And the other place is dancing. You know, I love dancing, and I love dancing 5 rhythms, biodanza. These are healing, meditative dancing modalities. And it's just extraordinary when I immerse myself in dance. I've also been able to generate fantastic ideas and just really ground myself, kind of come to my center, feel happier, feel more hopeful. So these are 2 places. I probably would say a third, and I'll stop. My nephews. When I interact with my nephews, I just enter into a different world, and I love them so much. And so that really nurtures me. And because they're so creative, they are 10 and 13. So with them, everything is very exciting. And so these are my 3 places.
So there's an innocence of the childhood perspective that you're also fueled by there. And I just love that, by the way, the idea of nature is your temple. And there you are, dancing around the temple with your nephews or nieces nearby. Did you say nephews or nieces, or was it one of each?
Nephews, 2 boys, Nestor and Alex.
I like that word. We're even bigging them up, Nestor and Alex. Beautiful. So welcome to your clearing, and thank you for letting me join you now at your temple, where we're going to watch you dance around the values of Maria. So the first storytelling archetype, we've got a tree, an apple tree, Maria, within your clearing, within your temple. We're going to shake the tree to see which apples fall out. How do you like them apples? And the apples are going to take the form of this exercise that we talked about beforehand, which is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've had 5 minutes, or as long as you needed, to think about 4 things that have shaped you, and you started to tell us some of that in any case. 3 things that inspire you. 2 things that always really grab your attention and sort of make your heart sing, if you like. And then 1 quirky or unusual fact that we couldn't possibly know about you, Maria, until you tell us. So that's the archetype. Let's now shake your tree. Which one of those apples would you most like to talk about?
That reminds me, by the way, of a song that I love by Peter Gabriel, Shaking the Tree, if you remember from the 80s.
I remember Sledgehammer, which is obviously...
It's the same album. I think it's the same album. Yes, that song is from the same album.
Okay, so let's shake your Peter Gabriel tree. Which apples are falling out, and which one of those elements would you like to talk about?
I would like to talk about one particular element which has shaped me as a person, one fact from my life. So I won't go into 4 because 5 minutes is not that long. And that is that I'm a Bulgarian nomad, as you know. My father was a diplomat. He was an ambassador in different countries. So I went to school. I went to a French school in Geneva, to a Bulgarian school for a little while, to a Russian school in Afghanistan, and to an English school in Ethiopia.
Wow.
And what this did, Chris, for me is that it really expanded my horizons. I think that's probably when I got the bug of adventure, of traveling. I love meeting new people, going to new places. I love interacting with new cultures and getting to know new customs and traditions. And so this made me very adaptable, very flexible. I think that's where I already developing my empathy and probably my kindness, because every 2 years or 3 years, I was the new kid on the block, and I had to integrate myself. And it took a lot of flexibility. It took tolerance for the new ways that my friends were at school. It also gave me a sense of what it means to be isolated, not to belong, to be disconnected from the group, the herd or the tribe. And so I feel very passionate about defending people who are on the margin, and just standing by those who perhaps are voiceless, which is why also empathy and kindness are my motto now. As you know, I'm an advocate for that, because I think that we live in very challenging times. There are so many uncertainties, the proverbial VUCA environment. And I think that we can really, the only way to get the best out of different colleagues and stakeholders is to use kindness, appreciation. I think we can be a lot more powerful with appreciation, gratitude, empowerment than using coercion on fear. So this is really my multicultural, multi-territorial experience, which then was replicated professionally, because I've worked on all continents. I lived 12 years in Singapore. I learned enormously, and I think this has imbued every fabric of my body and thinking and heart to be the person that I am right now.
I love that, and the just the versatility, the sheer cultural immersion that you've had across numerous cultures, and indeed cultural communication is one of your absolute specialisms, I know. And so
that's right.
And so can we talk about what's brought you to the Working Voices clearing that we both also reside in? So what was your journey to that clearing?
My journey was that in 2015, I returned to the UK after 12 and a half years in Singapore. And up until that point, I had a commercial career in media sales. And then I was also doing part-time coaching and training. And coming back to London, I decided that I really want to focus entirely on what I'm very passionate about, which is to help people transform and fulfill their potential and their dreams.
Yes.
And so I was looking on the internet for different companies, and I loved the website of Working Voices. It resonated with me. I loved the message from Nick Smallman. And I was speculatively calling different companies. So I spoke to Emma, who was HR manager at the time, and we had a good chat. And she said, we're not looking for anyone now, but if something changes, I'll call you. And lo and behold, in 2017, in January, she called me and she said, would you like to meet with Nick? And I said, I would love to. And we met with Nick, and we really connected immediately. I mean, we talked about a lot of things. We both discovered that we have a passion for discernment and critical thinking and making sure that we don't take everything on a face value. And I really admired his authenticity, his humility, his warmth. I felt like, well, we both felt that we had known each other forever and we were friends. And so, as you know, the rest is history. I feel so fortunate and happy to be part of the Working Voices family and to have met you and so many other extraordinary people.
And in terms of on your journey, the tour guide, here you find yourself in the Working Voices clearing now, and it's a real pleasure to share this space with you. We're going to talk about some elements of alchemy or gold now, another bit of storytelling archetype for you. So when you're really in your zone of being Chiefs Officer of kindness and empathy, what's the alchemy or the gold that you most like to bring or offer to people?
I think I offer warmth. I offer that space of tolerance, acceptance, probably open-mindedness. And I remember from even a small girl, people were telling me, and all my friends, everyone was telling me that they feel comfortable to share their deepest secrets because they know that I'm not going to lynch them and I'm not going to go off on a moralistic tangent. And I think this is really valuable. And of course, we all have learned different coaching techniques and questions. But I also very intentionally bring love, kindness, unconditional positive regard to the sessions. And people feel that. And we also become, the other element of me is that for me, it's always a journey of equals. So I learn and I progress as much as the people that I work with progress, be it one-on-one coaching or in a group setting. And hopefully this is, and a bit of joy as well and playfulness. Hopefully I bring that too.
So I'm really hearing reciprocity, joy, warmth, empathy and kindness. It's so clear what you're transmitting. So I'm going to award you shortly with a metaphorical cake that we're going to put a final cherry on. But can we hear the unusual or quirky fact about you, Maria Kassova, that we couldn't possibly know about you until you tell us?
Yes. So my mother, Tatiana Kolarova Kassova, was an opera singer. And she sang in an opera. She was a soprano, and that's where I have my love for opera and classical music as well. And she was my best friend. She passed away quite earlier on in 1991, so it's been a while. But when she was alive, she was my best friend, and she taught me a lot about the world. And one of the things I remember from her were that we can be anything. She used to tell myself and my sister, you can be anything you want. She used to say that look for kindness and the goodness in people, and also направи добро и го хвърли в морето. Do something good and throw it away in the sea. And I really have replicated this from her, and hopefully I'm living her legacy by, first of all, having achieved incredible things in my own eyes, traveling and having 2 careers, but also passing this on to everyone I encounter with. And that means sometimes making mistakes. I make mistakes, others make mistakes, and hopefully I bring more tolerance and forgiveness and compassion. Hopefully that also I have from my mom, and I still love her very much. So she's still alive in my heart.
You said something really beautiful there about passing it on, but I also heard passing on the song in what you were chiming with there. So it's a bit like your mother is the voice of an angel that's still singing her song, which you're bringing with you as your tour guide yourself.
Wow, you're moving me. We're going to see the other side of me, the very emotional side, but thank you.
And can you just tell us,
that's the case.
And forgive me for interrupting you at the beginning of that story. What was her name again? It's such a beautiful, unusual name on the ear. So your mother, the opera singer, what was her name again?
Tatiana Kolarova Kassova. Tatiana, she used to be called Tanya for short. So we have pictures of her when she was in different operas. She lived and she sang in Moscow. That's where she started opera singing. Yeah. So she's a very dear person to my heart. And I mean, my dad has done a phenomenal job. He's my best friend now. But yeah, that cherries, my mom was really a big part of who I am now.
You're so eminently qualified to be global head of yourself. This is so beautiful, that just the texture and the color, the empathy, and just the emotion that you're able to bring as well so naturally. So I'd like to award you with a final cake. And the cherry on the cake, you've given us so much wisdom already, but the cherry on the cake is, what's the most inspirational thing that you've ever been told? Or what's your favorite quote? You can answer this how you like, but what would you like to leave us with as a cherry on the cake?
I would like to remind everyone watching this that you are perfect as you are. You are way better, way more worthy and more successful than you think you are. Please believe in yourself. Please be resilient. Please follow your dreams, and be very brave to shine your light on the world.
Maria Kassova, it's been a joy talking to you. You have been watching What You Need Is a Damn Good Listening To with me, Chris Grimes, and it's been such a joy, Maria. Thank you very much indeed for being here on the podcast.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.